Algebra, we talked about a one-to-one function. Do you remember what has to happen for in the graph? When you're looking at a graph for us to say is one-to-one, what two tests does it have to pass? Vertical line test and horizontal line test. All right, so we're going to start off talking about signing. You don't have to copy this down just yet. The first thing we have to do is identify where in the graph of sine is it one-to-one, okay? And we notice that it's one-to-one from here to here, which is negative pi over 2 and positive pi over 2. All right, because that is where it is one-to-one, whenever we're asked to find an inverse of sine, we're only going to be in these two quadrants. So you can actually take your unit circle and fold it in half, because this is the only side we're going to look at for inverse sine. All right, so I'll give you a moment to copy down this slide and then we'll talk about it together. And I am making one change. I'm making that negative. So inverse sine, going back to algebra, when we found the inverse, remember we would say F inverse of X when it was the inverse. We're doing the same thing here, except for a trig function, we can show that it's the inverse two different ways. We can put this little exponent of -1, or we can put arc in front of it. Okay? The answers, which is the number inside of the parentheses, all of these numbers that you see on the inside, it has to be between this range. All right, because going back to the graph, let me go back for a second. Remember, for the parent function, it has an amplitude of 1. So the entire graph is between 1 and -1. So that is why you cannot take the sign of a number that is less than -1 or greater than +1. Okay? All of the answers that we're going to get, all of my answers are angles. And the angles are between negative pi over 2 and positive pi over 2. Okay, keep in mind, all of our answers has to fall between negative pi over 2 and positive pi over 2. So the one thing we have to keep in mind, I'm going to zoom in real quick. When I'm looking in quadrant 1 and 4, first of all, my answers are the angles. Second of all, I cannot say that the answer is 11 pi over 6. That's outside of my range, okay? So remember, these are reflections. These two angles are reflections. So if the top angle is positive pi over 6, the bottom is negative pi over 6. That's the answer. So I'm going to cross this off. You can't use these answers right here. We can't use these answers. We have to flip it so that it's in the range of negative pi over 2 and positive pi over 2. These two angles are reflections. So instead of 7 pi over 4, it's negative pi over 4. These two angles are reflections. So instead of positive pi over 3, it's negative pi over 3. And even the y-axis is a reflection. So instead of 3 pi over 2, it's negative pi over 2. So when you're giving me an answer for an inverse sine, these are your values. It's only these numbers. So it could be those numbers at the top, and it could also be these numbers, okay? When you are answering an inverse question, you are saying, what is the angle that has that answer? In the past, I said, here's the angle, what is the answer? But we're going backwards now. That's what inverse means. Inverse is opposite. All right, so let's look at this first one here. It's asking you, what angle has a sine of positive 1? What angle has a sine of positive 1? And that would be what? What's the angle that you see I have highlighted? Which one of these angles has a sine of 1? Pi over 2. That would be your answer. I'm going to go across. All right, now let's look here. What angle, again, we're not looking in quadrants 2 or 3. What angle has a sine of 1/2? So now I'm looking in quadrant 1. What is the angle that has a sine of 1/2? Robin? Pi over 4. Pi over 4? Nope, not pi over 4. Has a sine. Is sine x or y? Y. So where is y 1/2? Pi over 6, right here. So the answer, because right here, sine is 1/2, so the answer is pi over 6. What angle has a sine of positive root 3 over 2? Pi over 3. What angle has a sine of negative 1? Yep, negative pi over 2. What angle has a sine of negative 1/2? Negative pi over 6. What angle has a sine of positive root 2 over 2? Pi over 4. That's your answers. So that's the inverse sine. Any questions about that? Okay, so now let's talk about cosine. Okay. Cosine, the graph is a little different. So here is the graph of a parent function of cosine. And if you look at between here and here, if I go from negative pi over 2 to positive pi over 2, for cosine, that wouldn't pass the horizontal line test. So I can't use the same area of the graph. Okay, I need to move over a little bit. And when I move over, I'm starting here and I'm ending here. So cosine, we're looking from 0 to pi. So I'll give you a second to copy that down. And you're going to fold your unit circle the other way. Now you're going to fold a hamburger. Only looking in quadrants 1 and 2. We're going to answer these questions. I'm going to make this one down here a positive too. Positive 1, I mean. So now, same thing, but now we're looking at a different part of our unit circle. In quadrants 1 and 2, and all of your answers will always be in radians. So these are the answers that I'm looking for. You will never give me a degree answer. So we're not using these. Everything is in radians. All right. Which one of those green angles that you see highlighted has a cosine of -1? I agree. I have people writing, so let me give people a chance to write, though, because I don't want nobody to be left behind. We got time today. Okay, so pi, because this angle right here, remember cosine is x, so x is -1 when the angle is pi, so that would be my answer. Where is cosine -1/2? Well, -1/2, that's right here, and that's 2 pi over 3. Where is cosine positive √3/2? Well, that would be right here. And what angle is that? What's this angle right here, y'all? Pi over 6. All right, now going back, where is cosine +1? Cosine is +1 right here, and that's at 0. Where is cosine 0? Pi over 2. Where is cosine -√2/2? 3 pi over 4. All right. Thumbs up, sideways down. How we feel? This is just the first day, so we're gonna be, I feel like this way is a little easier, a little bit, but you'll get it. All right, so we talked about sine, we talked about cosine. Now let's talk about tangent. Now unfortunately, we did not get a chance to graph a tangent, but this is what a tangent graph looks like, okay? And it is actually undefined, just like sine. We're gonna fold our unit circle hot dog and look in quadrants 1 and 4, okay? So I'll give you a second. Now, the difference between tangent and sine and cosine is you can take the tangent of numbers greater than 1 and less than -1. But this is different from sine. What is different about this restriction compared to sine? Even though they're both using 1 and 4, what's the difference? There is a difference. No equal to. So when we're talking about inverse tangent, we can only use those angles. We can't use pi over 2 or -pi over 2. So I'll give you a moment to copy that down. Okay. So tangent is a little different, right? Because we have to divide to get tangent. Remember, to find tangent, tangent is y over x, okay? So, looking at quadrants 1 and 4, which one, excuse me, what angle do you think is going to give me a tangent of positive 1? Pi over 3? Pi over 4? Who agrees pi over 4? When you divide root 2 over 2 by root 2 over 2, you get 1. So the answer would be pi over 4. I agree. Now, the root 3 over 3. We have two options. First of all, it's positive. So I know I'm looking in quadrant 1. We already identified that this angle has a tangent of 1. Okay, so we already know that. Let's figure out quickly the tangent of pi over 3 and pi over 6. So if I take pi over 3 and I take the y value and divide it by x, root 3 over 2 divided by 1/2, we would do the what? Keep, change, flip, right? And that would give me root 3 over 2 times 2 over 1. This would cancel. And my answer would just be root 3. That's not the same as root 3 over 3. So this is not my answer. Okay? So keeping that in mind, the only thing it could be is what? What's left? Pi over 6. But let's go ahead and work that out. For pi over 6, I'm taking 1/2 divided by root 3 over 2. Which again, we do our keep, change, flip. This cancels, and I'm left with 1 over root 3, which, after we multiply top and bottom by root 3, would leave me with root 3 over 3. So my answer is pi over 6. That is the angle that will give us a tangent of positive root 3 over 3. Okay, lastly, what angle has a tangent of negative 1? Positive 1 and negative 1, tangent and cotangent, those should be easy. What would you write? Could I say 7 pi over 4? No, cannot. Because remember, you have to, if you look at your graph, it's between negative pi over 2 and positive pi over 2. So this is really negative pi over 6. This is negative pi over 4. And this is negative pi over 3. You cannot give me these answers. Just cross them out. So the answer would be negative pi over 4. All right, last one. Where is tangent undefined? Okay, so tangent is undefined. We know we have to divide y by x. So if I look at the top, that would be 1 over 0. That is undefined. Just like at negative pi over 2, that's also undefined. So can I say my answer is pi over 2 and negative pi over 2? Look at it. Are those included? Are those two angles included? Does it say it can equal? Your answers can't equal these two. So that's why I crossed it out. When you're talking about an inverse tangent, these are you only have 7 options. These right here. So that means that that is actually undefined. You could say undefined. You could also say does not exist. Okay, so I'm about to give you a mixed review. And I'm going to give you 5 minutes. And I just want you to try to do these on your own. Okay? Now, I will give you a hint. 2 of these 6 answers does not exist. Okay? Now remember, for these 4, the ones you see highlighted in green, that's quadrants 1 and 4. For cosine, that's quadrants 1 and 2. So we never use quadrant 3. Never, never, never. So we're going to use either the hamburger side or the hot dog side. So I'm going to give you all 5 minutes. I'm going to start a timer for 5 minutes. Take a guess. Nobody's going to know your grade or how many you got right but you. But it's a good gauge to see how you're understanding the lesson so far. You just put it in the red tray. Make sure your name's on both. Well, not necessarily the green paper, but the test, I should say, because I'm throwing away the green paper. Take a guess. So I'm asking you for the angle that has that answer. So what angle has the answer in the parentheses? What angle has the answer in the parentheses? And also, let me go ahead and zoom in. Remember, any answer in quadrant 4, you cannot use these answers, these numbers. This is not going to work. That's not the numbers. That's not the answer. This will be negative pi over 6. So this is negative pi over 6. This is negative pi over 4. And this is negative pi over 3. And this will be negative pi over 2. Okay, so I'm going to cross this out. You don't use those 4 answers. All right, so go ahead. And 2 answers should be D, N, E. All right, who finished all 6? Anybody need another minute to think? All right, go ahead and grade your answers. So the first one should be negative pi over 3. Second one, positive 2 pi over 3. This is D and E. All right, this is D and E. Because remember, when you graph the sign, let me go back to it real quick. When we look at our parent function for sine, with an amplitude of 1, your highest value is 1 and your lowest is negative 1. So if you don't have a number between negative 1 and 1, it's D and E. Even though you can't use your calculator, but if you were to pick up a calculator and type in the sine of 7 over 2, it's going to tell you it does not exist. The inverse sine of 1 is positive pi over 2. Same reason, cosine, just like sine, it cannot be less than negative 1. That's D and E. And then this one would be negative pi over 6. So you have to do your keep, change, flip. Now, I had a student teacher 2 years ago, and I do like the way he explained it. He said that the angle closest to x has a tangent, has the smallest tangent. So root 3 over 3 is smaller than just root 3. If you take a number and divide it by 3, you're going to get something smaller. So I know, without doing my keep, change, flip, that it's going to be these two angles. I know that pi over 6 and negative pi over 6 have a tangent of root 3 over 3 or negative root 3 over 3. And positive pi over 3 and negative pi over 3 has a tangent of plus or minus square root of 3. All right, any questions? Okay, so I would like for you to copy these next 4 questions down, and this is where we will pick up.